Hello, 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 good morning and welcome to this week's Wednesday edition of Q&A Wednesday. And if I sound a little bit throaty, there's very good reason for that. And if you notice my nails are actually gold, there's another good reason for that. Because last night I attended the Christmas party, the Freedom Collective's Christmas party, which was hosted by the lovely Shah Wasmond and her business partner, Matt Thomas. So today I'm going to be on here answering any questions that you might have about anything really. It could be around visibility, it could be how to stand out a bit more, it could even be around a conversation you're about to have, something you've tried in your life, at work, in your business that you need some advice on. It's almost like a business agony aunt. So for those of you that are tuning in and have not watched these before, on the Facebook Live you can see me, but I can't see you. And even when some of you join, I can't always see your name. So I don't always know that you're there. So unless you pop on and say hello, I won't acknowledge you just because I don't know you're there. So already Alan said, good morning, Jenny. So good morning to you, Alan. So that's the first thing. The second thing was that these Q&A Wednesdays have been created because one of the things that a lot of people, especially those of you who work for yourself or even live by yourself, and even some of you who have got jobs where you're given a task to do, maybe you work for a sales team or a marketing team, you're given a number of projects or tasks to do, and your task is just to go out there and just do it, basically. So if that's you, and often you need a sounding board, you're not quite sure who to bounce an idea off or who to ask, there's normally a lovely community of people either here or over in my Facebook group, which is the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which is free. Go in there, take part, as they say in the States, play full out, answer questions, ask questions, give insights, share tips, and really share your knowledge, because it's not my group, it's our group. It's a group where we all go in there so that we can start to shine and or shine more and stand out. So if you're watching this either live or on the replay, and you know of other people who would also benefit from this type of interaction, it's around 20 minutes, unless sometimes we get lots of questions and it goes over. If you know of anyone that would benefit, then by all means, there's a share button just underneath. Just hit share, it'll share it to your timeline and people can get involved and watch too. If you're the sort of person that likes to keep up to date with these things, if you click on subscribe, then the subscribe button will allow you to be notified when any of my posts go out from this channel, or if I go live. And quite often I schedule them so that I can honour your time, but every now and then I might do something impromptu. So welcome and thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to have a frog in my throat, and as I realised what the time was, I didn't grab myself a glass of water. So you might hear me kind of croaking my way through some of this. So last night was really lovely, and it was interesting because quite often people have funny relationships with Christmas do's. Either you're at work and you're invited to the Christmas do and your partner is invited, but you feel awkward because you all know each other and the partners don't. Or on the flip side, you might be employed and you go to the Christmas do and it's like no partners allowed. So you kind of feel like you're sacrificing time that you spend with your loved ones to go to the Christmas party or something like that. And then the other side of the coin certainly was true for me in 2010 when I started my own business. When you're self-employed and you're like a one-man band, or even if you're working with other people on projects, it tends to be that you don't have a Christmas party, which is why last night was so special. There were so many special moments about last night, and I want to address some of the questions that came up around the evening, even from before, because I think they're important to address, and like everything, we can learn lots from the environment around us, the people around us, and the things that they pose. So the question had, so the party had a couple of really great people who DJ'd. So it was widely popularised that Jazzy B, yes, the Jazzy B from the group Soul to Soul, was DJing and did a DJ spot there. He's fabulous, and he really played a diverse selection of music, everything from David Bowie's Let's Dance, to kind of classic R&B tunes, you know, Luther Vandross, even to things like modern day, or I should say kind of like original jungle. You know, he played a really wide spectrum of music that everybody could enjoy, everybody could dance to. Sign of a good DJ. And always looking and checking out the crowd just to see whether they're kind of drinking up the music or not. And some really cool mixing as well, if you're into that sort of thing. And then the other person was Gordon Mack, who started or founded Kiss FM, the original Kiss FM, and then later on sold it, and has set up his own radio station since. And interestingly, I remember when Kiss FM started, I lived up in East Anglia and it was a London station, but it had this cool kudos around it. What I like about both of these men who came along and DJ'd at Charles' party was they did something which in visibility terms is really, really important. And that is they established what they, maybe what they felt was missing, and realised that there was a space for them to fill. Now, this doesn't matter if your space of the thing that you want to fill has already been taken, because it's really hard in this day and age to keep things original and individual. And even if you're the first person to set something that's groundbreaking, quite often other people will love it, imitate it, copy it, model it, and then roll with it. So the important thing is to identify the gap that you know you can fill and that you'll enjoy filling, and go with that. Because once you go with that, once you roll with that, you bring something to it of yourself, your personality, your essence. You know, you could line up 6 different coaches, for example, and each one will bring a different element. I remember being quite hurt when I created the visibility. I created the title visibility specialist because of what my clients were saying, what my peers were saying, what people around me were saying that they were getting from the things that I shared, from the work that I did, and how I helped them to stand out. I could have called myself the standing out coach. I could have called myself anything. But I really wanted to reflect not only the visibility of what I could see for people, but the vision of what they had, that they knew somewhere in the depths of their belly they could bring into the world, they could bring to fruition, but weren't sure how. You know, so I remember when I started kind of like calling it this many, many years ago, and people would say, oh, that's really great. Oh, I love that. And then it was like the language, people got used to the language and they bring it in. But here's the thing, I have found my own voice. It's not to say that it won't change. It's not to say that it won't metamorphosize almost, that it won't evolve. But I have found my own voice. But more importantly, I am comfortable in my own skin. People might call that confidence. And I think confidence is a slightly different thing. But I am really comfortable with who I am in my own skin, which means that I can show up on camera. I can, you know, deliver these Facebook Lives. I'm happy to jump on and make videos. I'm also really happy to run webinars, of which I've got one coming up soon. And I'm also just as happy standing on a stage, speaking to whether it's hundreds and thousands of people or a handful of people. But I recognise that that is not for everybody. And I don't want everybody to think that they have to do everything. So if you do share this video, even if you're watching it on the replay, that would be worth putting as the title. Everybody don't, you know, you don't have to do everything. Really, really important. But where I do suggest you start is from your place of comfort, what you feel comfortable with sharing, what you feel your strength is, and do more of that. Okay, so that's the first thing that I would say. So last night's party was interesting because one of the questions it brought up, and it was almost like an unspoken question, and this is also a bit of a visibility trait of mine, my personal trait, that sometimes it's not what people say, it's not what people ask, it is about what they don't say and maybe what they don't ask. And as we approached the time for the party to begin, what I found really interesting was there was an air, a slight undertone, a slight undercurrent where people weren't able to make the party due to like sick kids, or you know, maybe travel was messed up, or maybe they had other commitments and other engagements. And interestingly, and it's always of interest to me why people choose to share the reasons that they can't rather than the reasons that they can. But that's one of my own hot buttons. I like to turn your can'ts into cans. You know, it's about the ability activating piece of what I bring. I thought it was really interesting that all these people were talking about why they couldn't go. And I think what happened was, what that did for the people that were planning on going, who still wanted to go, I feel like it spooked them a little bit. I feel like they started to get worried about, well, who would be going? Who will be, who will be there? And oh my gosh, I'm going on my own. So I put a post in the relevant group, and because I really felt like in my heart that we worry too much about, oh, well, if we go out, we have to do this with somebody else. We have to do things with somebody else. And one of the things that I found, the people that are most successful in standing out, in being visible, in making a difference in the world, they know who they are, okay? And sometimes they're happy with that growth of continuing to know who you are. I don't believe you can go, oh yeah, I know who I am now and that's it. There's always this growth. But they also, they're also very decisive, I've noticed. They make decisions. They at least make the decision that there's something they want to do, and they just go for it, you know. And they don't worry about going to places by themselves, being the only person. And I didn't just see this in last night. I've seen this in like some of the conferences I've attended over the years and trainings, you know, joining masterminds. I joined a mastermind in America. And when I joined it, I didn't know anybody else that was going to be in that mastermind. A mastermind are, in fact, here's the easiest way to articulate it. It's taken, I think the concept is really taken from the book written by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. However, if you think about this common phrase, 2 heads are better than 1. You know, when you are mulling over an idea, a thought, a plan, or something you want to do, and all of a sudden, just by almost sitting in the same room as somebody else, you start to get these different insights that you didn't get before. And when you get like a collection of people, a collective of people, then you get even more ideas, often quite kind of quirky, quite different, very individual, but feel like really good, feel like in alignment with yourself. And interestingly, Jazzy B to me represents that, because this was 1989 and possibly slightly earlier when he had the concept of bringing the band together, knew what he wanted to do, knew what he wanted to create. He had that vision. So he knew what he wanted to create, he had that vision, and then he went for it. And what he decided to do, rather than do what everyone else was doing, I have got a band, I have got these people, they are mine, they all fit in this space. He decided that everybody was going to bring their individual kind of gifts, their skills. 2 heads are better than 1, aren't they, after all? And as they brought them in, he formed a collective of this music. Now, whether you like his music or not, like Soul to Soul or not, the concept behind it is very powerful. So I would say don't dismiss his music or the end product without at least looking at that catalyst that brought the collective together. He had singers like Kim Mazel, you know, renowned singers who would come and sing, some well-known, some not so well-known. Karen Wheeler was another one. And he'd heard her sing, and for many people that hadn't been in that part of the music industry, they'd never heard of her before, but he'd heard her sing on a couple of records that he'd grown up loving. So he got the idea and the concept of the collection, the collective people all bringing their skills in. And I guess in some respects, it's part of what I really want for those people that are in the Visibility Vibes tribe. I like the fact that you all collate and come together. So you might be thinking, well, Jenny, that's all very interesting, but what's the question in that? Which reminds me, if you've got questions and you're watching this, please type them in the box below now. If you're watching on the replay, I would say the best thing to do is either to type a question and tag in the Queen of Being Seen here, or go into the Visibility Vibes group and put your question in there. And know that any question that you ask in the week, I'm more than happy to answer on these Q&A Wednesdays. So in that collection, in that collective of people that Jazzy B brought together, there are all these skill sets, there are all this knowledge, there was a synergy, as Alan quite rightly says. There was a synergy, there was a collection, But people were still able to go off and do their own successful things in their own right without it being owned by people. You know, there was this freedom that flowed in there, but a really great synergy. Yeah, fantastic word, Alan. Thank you for that. So one of the things that you'll find in the Visibility Vibes tribe, and I'll put the link to that beneath here, so that if you're watching this on the replay, haven't ever heard of the Vibes tribe, you can join in. You just click to join. I will let you in, and you know, go in there, share pieces of knowledge and wisdom, especially from your field. Banter and joke by all means, but I think it's really important that people can see you for the personality that you are, whether you banter, whether you joke, whether you're sage and wise, whether you're thoughtful, whether you're reflective, but also to start to know you a bit more for the stuff that you either want to be known more for or what you actually do, because I know that some of you may have changed. And this is how I would describe the people in that group. The Visibility Vibers, or the Visibility Vibe tribe, I call them Vibers, and all my emails will say, hello Vibers. And if you've done the video stuff with me, Video Vibers, I would describe it, and this is what I wrote down, as strong and confident people who feel frustrated with the popularised ways that are currently offered to stand out. I love to help them, and I see in them a way that they can embrace their uniqueness, which is, I'll come on to what that is in a moment, and their quirks, so that they can own their voice. So what I mean by that is, we have all lived our lives and gone through various different paths, experiences, challenges, journeys, frustrations, wins, goals, and that's what makes us so unique. So you could be like a greengrocer, could have 20 greengrocers, but you're all unique because of the different journeys you've taken in life, the different paths, the experiences, the challenges. And what I really like to do with people, and what I notice with the people that like to join the group, is that I want you to be able to embrace your uniqueness instead of dampening it down, making it wrong, trashing it. I want you to be able to embrace that, so that you know, whether it's quirky or not, so that you can take what you've learned and what you're still continuing to learn in your weakness, form your story, and form the information that you put out there and share with people. You do that in your own voice, and when you do that in your own voice, there is no need to copy anybody, because you are you and you're happy with what you're sharing, even if that happiness feels like happy with what you're sharing for now. So I don't see any questions. Thank you so much for joining me live today. I want to honour your time. And again, if you are watching this on the replay and can think of anyone that fits the category of like fiercely ambitious, and they're working within an organisation and they want to progress, even in these troubling times, you know, please do share this with them. You know, even if they are a business owner or aspiring to start a business and trying to figure it out, don't let them figure it out on their own. It takes a lot longer. It's a much more frustrating path, trust me. I've been down there, and I'm sure I will keep going back down that route again. Come and join us with a lovely group of people. There's about 370 people who have got brilliant assets, brilliant gifts to share, and do fantastic things in the world. I want you guys to be elevated to a point that people start to fly over from other countries to come and attend your workshops, that people sign up and subscribe to watch your videos, to join you on webinars, to read your book, to join your Facebook challenges that you run. I want them to see your real inner beauty. I want you to be to activate your own ability, or I want to show you how to activate your own ability so that you're motivated, so that you're visible, whether that's in your business or in your life. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.